Used SpaceX Rocket Launches 10 communications satellites. Once again, a two-stage Falcon 9 booster lifted off from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California tonight, December 22nd, at 11:27 p.m. Est. 8:27 p.m. Local California time, 0427 on December 23rd GMT, lofting 10 communications satellites for the commercial Iridium Next constellation. The Falcon 9's first stage also launched 10 Iridium Next satellites back in June, making Iridium the first SpaceX customer ever to launch twice atop the same rocket. Reusable rocket launch systems. How they work. Infographic. SpaceX has now reused Falcon 9 first stages on 5 separate missions, all of which launched this year. The company has also landed Falcon 9 boosters 20 times to date. But that tally did not increase tonight because SpaceX did not attempt to land and recover this particular first stage for the second time, instead executing a landing burn and splashing down in the Pacific Ocean, according to the launch webcast. The company has offered few details about the reasoning behind this decision. A few days before liftoff, a SpaceX representative told Space News, "These are case-by-case decisions and are based on mission requirements and the needs of our manifest." SpaceX also launched previously flown Dragon cargo capsules on robotic resupply runs to the International Space Station twice in 2017. The second such flight, which lifted off on December 15th, featured a used Falcon 9 first stage. SpaceX had never before mounted an orbital mission with a pre-flown rocket and a pre-flown spacecraft. Such reuse is key to slashing the cost of spaceflight, which will open the heavens to exploration, SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk has stressed. Indeed, complete reusability is a central feature of the BFR rocket spaceship combo that SpaceX is developing to help humanity settle Mars. SpaceX has now lofted 40 Iridium Next satellites across 4 different launches, all of which happened this year. The company will fly 4 more missions for Iridium in 2018 to put 35 additional spacecraft in orbit, filling out the $3 billion Iridium Next constellation. Iridium Next will replace the company's existing global constellation in one of the largest technology upgrades ever completed in space, Iridium representatives said in a statement. It represents the evolution of critical communications infrastructure that governments and organizations worldwide rely upon to drive business, enable connectivity, empower disaster relief efforts, and more. Tonight's launch was SpaceX's 18th and final mission of 2017. That's a record for the company, which had never previously pulled off more than 8 successful orbital launches in a single year. 2018 looks to be busy as well, and the action should pick up again soon. SpaceX has several missions scheduled for January, including the maiden flight of the company's Falcon Heavy rocket and the launch of the super-secret Zuma payload for the U.S. government. SpaceX and Iridium launching satellites that could someday revolutionize international air travel. SpaceX is set to launch 10 Iridium satellites on Friday, marking a halfway point in a contract to deliver 75 satellites to low Earth orbit for the satellite communications provider. When completed, this constellation of low Earth orbit satellites could revolutionize air traffic control, allowing planes to fly shorter and more direct routes. The key is a system called Ariane, which will launch aboard every satellite. The system will be able to track airplanes anywhere on the planet, Iridium CEO Matt Desch told CNBC before the launch. Today, airliners can fly direct routes, such as from Little Rock to Chicago, when they are overland. But once a jet heads more than 100 to 150 miles offshore, it enters procedural airspace, where air traffic controllers must rely on a pilot to relay an aircraft's position every 10 minutes. An example is a flight from New York's Kennedy Airport down to the Caribbean. If it runs into bad weather in North Carolina, the pilot could head out to sea to get around the storm. However, air traffic controllers might not approve a route like that because then they lose sight of the aircraft. Aireon means airlines can fly more direct routes, which could reduce both the cost and time of air travel, Dash said. Aireon makes the whole planet visible to air traffic controllers. Dash says the Federal Aviation Administration has been testing the service under its next-gen program, but hasn't made a final decision. We'll probably hear a decision in 2018, putting things on track to implement in 2020 or so, Dash said. The FAA did not respond to CNBC requests for comment. Beyond adding next-generation tracking capabilities, Dash noted that Aireon's hardware takes up none of Iridium's communication capacity. The Aireon payload piggybacks on board the Iridium satellites, listening on a different frequency than the Iridium broadband. The Aireon system is only part of what Iridium hopes to achieve. The satellites will be focused on expanding Iridium's satellite communications service from around 900,000 devices to up to 10 million devices. Our networks provide a safety umbrella of coverage around the world, over 100% of the Earth, Dash added. Consumers may not care what happens on the North Pole or in the middle of the ocean, but countries and companies can depend upon that service. The Iridium 4 mission will launch on a reused SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from California's Vandenberg Air Force Base on Friday evening. The launch, which was delayed from its original target date in October, will use the booster that landed after sending up the Iridium 2 mission in June. This time, however, SpaceX will not attempt to land or recover the Falcon 9's first stage. This will be the 18th launch for Elon Musk's space company this year, the first in history that commercial launches will outpace government-sponsored ones.